and the voice you heard on the ground after communications was officially handed over. And thanks to Jack Hathaway and Sophie Adno of NASA and ESA, respectively, for preparing both Menon and Mir for today's spacewalk. Currently inside the crew lock where those two astronauts reside, approaching a 1.30 pounds per square inch. And the view you see right now, an external camera aboard the International Space Station looking at the Quest airlock. So as the crew continues to work through its safety tether procedures, is what you heard. And again, safety checkouts will be quite often occurring during today's spacewalk. We will await the suits for both astronauts to be turned on to battery power, and that'll officially mark the beginning of today's spacewalk to install a mod kit on the 3B mass canister to set up for the rollout of an International Space Station rollout solar array to help augment the power of the orbiting laboratory. Depressurization of the crew lock continuing to occur as we now are approaching 1 pound per square inch inside of that crew lock of the Quest airlock, which you see the external views of outside of the International Space Station. Right now, the International Space Station orbiting 260 miles above the Earth, currently passing over the Atlantic Ocean. We'll stand by and continue to monitor the falling of that pressure inside the crew lock, now about to hit 1 pound per square inch. And await for the calls to have the crew and Jessica Mir and Anil Menon switch their suits onto battery power. And then we'll begin the procedures to begin opening the hatch. And for Jessica Mir, that will begin what will be her 6th spacewalk of her career, her 3rd on her current time aboard the International Space Station. And for Anil Menon, this will be his very first venture out into space. We welcome you to today's live coverage of U.S. Spacewalk 96 outside of the International Space Station, featuring NASA astronauts Jessica Mir and Anil Menon as the depressurization of the crew lock continuing onward, now under 1 pound per square inch, 0.88 pounds per square inch currently is the depressurization moving forward. Everything so far in their pre-spacewalk procedures have gone by the book. With the pre-breathe, the install of the safer and Medox canisters, the crew moved from the equipment lock to the crew lock. Additional safety checkouts and procedures performed by both the astronauts themselves and their support groups, both Jack Hathaway and Sophie Adno aboard the International Space Station offering assistance, as well as the teams here in Mission Control Houston.
Airlock Houston, we are tracking about 4.5 minutes to 0.
And with that communication, the relay from Stephanie Wilson up to the crew is that they are now tracking about 4.5 minutes until that crew lock will reach zero, the vacuum of space. And we continue to monitor and follow along with the process. But again, next steps from here will be the crew moving their suits, their spacewalk suits, to battery power to begin the formal beginning of today's spacewalk. And then the go will be given to open up the hatch thermal covers and the hatch itself before beginning their egress to begin today's spacewalk. And again, today's spacewalk performed by Jess Kamir and Anil Menon. They will exit the Quest airlock here in only a few more moments, and that will begin their journey to install hardware that will modify the station's 3B power channel and prepare it for a future installation of an International Space Station rollout solar array. And that solar array will be scheduled for delivery a little bit later this year aboard NASA's SpaceX's 35th Commercial Resupply Services mission. It will be the 7th IROSA and will provide additional power to support critical station operations, including its safe and controlled deorbit. Now, 2 minutes relayed to the pounds per square inch to reach zero, the vacuum of space, currently sitting at 0.68. Part of today's EVA tasks are to install the mod kit, the construction of the mod kit for the 3B mast canister, and route the IROSA cables necessary to then power up that future IROSA and connect it to those power channels for the space station. And of course, for Anil Menon and Jess Kamir, set up that mast canister and the 3B mod kit to a good configuration, a good position for that future EVA and eventual rollout of the solar array. Continuing to monitor along the depressurization of the crew lock of the Quest airlock, which inside the view you see here of the Quest airlock is NASA astronauts Jess Kamir and Anil Menon, approaching 0.60 pounds per square inch as it is being brought down to vacuum. All initial checks and safety checkouts have gone by the book, and we'll await the commands from the team here on the ground in support of today's U.S. Spacewalk 96 for instruction to move their spacesuits to battery power, which will bring the official start of today's spacewalk, and then the commands to begin opening the hatch thermal cover and begin egress or exiting procedures to move into the vacuum of space. And for Jess Kamir, again, this will be her 6th spacewalk of her career, the 3rd of her current mission as a member of NASA SpaceX's Crew 12 and the current International Space Station commander. And she will add to what has already become an impressive total of time out in space, 36 hours and 6 minutes as it stands this moment. And for Anil Menon, who just arrived to the orbiting laboratory only a few weeks ago after launching on July 14th as a member of the Soyuz MS-29 crew. This is his first space flight, and this will be his first adventure outside into the vacuum of space. And for today's 3B mod kit installation. We mentioned that this would be a part of a package deal that would be brought up to IROSAs and pairs on the NASA SpaceX 35th Commercial Resupply Services mission. The 7th IROSA set will be a part of the 2A mod kit channel that was completed in portions back in March of 2026 and beginning in May of 2025. And then for this 3B power channel mod kit, it would be the 8th rollout solar array to make its way out of the International Space Station. Now reaching 0.50 pounds per square inch, half a pound per square inch as it currently stands inside of the crew lock of the Quest airlock of the International Space Station. As we continue to methodically bring that down to zero, to the vacuum of space, before NASA astronauts Jess Kamir and Anil Menon will begin today's 96th U.S. spacewalk and install the IROSA mod kit on the 3B mass canister.
Airlock Houston, we see crew lock P less than 0.5. We are ready for you to verify EV hatch gauge.
Work. And now I'm coming left a little bit toward your feet to reset. I'm moving my feet up. I see negative 0.4.
That is a good number. You have a go to open the EV hatch and stow it.
Work.
Communication is there as the team has received the go to open the EV hatch. As Jess Kamir radioing down to the team here in Mission Control Houston in the International Space Station Flight Control Room. That is now in work as we are under now 0.20 pounds per square inch inside of the crew lock, and we'll wait the call to hear that crew switch their suits to battery power, formally begin today's EVA or spacewalk, extravehicular activity. And then from there, the views you see on your screen, the external cameras on board the International Space Station will begin to see movement and eventual exiting and egressing of the two NASA astronauts.
A little bit toward you. Yes. I'm moving the cable bag out of your way to create space. Okay, the hatch is open. I'm just trying to slide it back to the hatch. Keith? Yep. Okay, you should have more space for your feet. You have about a foot if you need to go a foot. Body. Okay, I got the right position now. Got it. Thank you. All right, hatch is open.
Copy, hatch open. For Jack and Sophie, take emergency MPEV to closed.
MPEV closed.
Copy that. That completes crew lock depress. Moving on to post depress. On your DCMs, take your power switches to bat. Stagger switch those, expecting a warning tone.
Okay, copy, and work. Power that. Power is that.
Take display switches to Pro to verify functional display.
V1 functional. EV2 functional.
On the UIA, take power EV1, EV2, 2 switches to off, OFF.
EV1 power off. EV2 power off.
Copy,
expected
check.
Water off message.
Copy expected water off message. Check power EV1, EV2 LEDs, 4 of them off, OFF.
4 off, OFF. EV1 has the expected CP high.
Also copy expected SUP high. On your DCMs, disconnect the SCU from the DCM and install the DCM cover.
Work.
Ten seconds, 20-second handover.
The LOS by EV1 has SCU disconnected and in the pouch, and DCM covers up. EV2 is disconnected into the pouch, DCM cover is up.
Copy all EV1, EV2. On the crew lock, check depress pump man ISO valve is closed.
Press pump man ISO valve is closed.
On your DCMs, take temperature control valves to max hot.
Work. V1 max hot. V2 max hot.
Take water switch to on.
V1 water on. EV2 water on.
Check DCM blank, bite off.
DCM blank, bite off. DCM blank, bite off.
Take your temperature control valves as you desire and report the settings to us.
Thank you for joining us for today's live coverage of
EV2 set at 7.
Copy EV16, EV27. Please report all subsequent TCV changes to us. Report suit P gauge pressure.
EV1 4.2 on the suit P gauge. EV2 is 4.2 gauge.
Copy 4.2 for both EV1 and EV2 on the suit P gauge. You can set your visors as required for day.
One. EV2.
And we have good suit parameters on the ground. We will take the airlock VRIV step also from the ground. That completes post-depress. Jessica, we are ready for you to open the hatch thermal cover, release the hook from the magnetic plate D-ring, attach the hook to the stowage tether point, and cinch the strap until snug. Confirm 6 lines visible.
Okay, copy and work.
And we again welcome you to today's live coverage of U.S. Spacewalk 96. We're just a couple of moments ago at 7:33 a.m. Central Time, 8:33 a.m. Eastern. The suits to NASA astronauts Jessica Meir and Anil Menon have been switched on to battery power. They just completed their post-depress checklist that you heard in communication with Spacewalk communicator Stephanie Wilson, you see on your screen here, sitting next to Flight Director Ronak Dave. So again, the official start time of today's Spacewalk, 7:33 a.m. Central Time, 8:33 a.m. Eastern, as the International Space Station was flying over Germany.
You can egress the airlock and turn on your HECA.
We are currently experiencing communications handovers between satellites as expected, and the team is monitoring, so we will keep things here inside of Mission Control Houston in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, as the team's actively working through today's pre-spacewalk procedures. Steve Villano, the lead spacewalk officer, along with Drew Burr and Lucas Winder, the spacewalk task officers to support today, along with Matt Hahn, the spacesuit support team, and Andrew Francis and his airlock support team. We also heard commands and Jessica Meir, NASA astronaut currently in work to...
I have a tether down, and I have my HECA turned on.
And as we regain communication and receive views, there we see Jessica Meir outside of the Quest airlock, as she has now formally begun her 6th spacewalk of her career. And we will monitor Jessica's progress through today. You can see towards the top of her backpack the portable life support system, the red stripes.
On your BRT taped towards your head, and you can use an adjustable from your mini workstation as a load-alleviating strap as desired for translation.
On copies. Strap bag is between the hatch and the staging bag, so it's going to take me a second to try to free that. Okay, take your time. I'm getting my BRT ready.
So Jessica Meir now outside of the Quest airlock. NASA astronaut Anil Menon still inside. For Jessica, she mentioned the BRT, that is the body restraint tether that creates and provides greater body positioning and stability. And that is when working in close proximity to the International Space Station and being able to retain the use of both of her hands. And she will need that because Anil Menon is going to hand her the strut bag for today's spacewalk that consists of 6 struts and a mounting base for the future use of an International Space Station rollout solar array. And that bag, quite large, 8 feet in long, and weighing here on Earth what would be 330 pounds. And that mass will be handed over to Jessica Meir to then have connected to her suit. And then once that is handed over, Anil Menon will make his way out of the hatchway and get his first views and begin officially his first spacewalk.
By there, I'm going to try to rotate to the handle side. Handle, yeah. You keep turning it that direction? Yep, I can. Okay, I've got my hand on the handle. Okay. Stand by, I'm going to get my BRT ret on it. Pause there. I have my BRT ret on it. I'm going to release this. Have the ret side actually. I do have the. I can easily release the ret if you'd like me to. You can go ahead. I have it retted. It is released. I copy. I'm going to pull it out a little bit more. Okay, hold it there.
We get our first views from the helmet cam of NASA astronaut Jessica Meir outside of the Quest airlock being handed the strut bag for today's U.S. spacewalk. Being handed over to her from NASA astronaut Anil Menon. And you can see those body restraint tethers attached to the side of the space station. And there in the background, you can see the solar array wing and the Northrop Grumman NG-24 vehicle and cargo craft attached to the station. And again, that strut bag, quite large, 8 feet long, weighing over 300 pounds, that has now been handed over to Jessica Meir. So Jessica Meir continuing to maneuver her body and the strut bag for today's spacewalk. And you can see on the handle of that strut bag for 3B, that is the task for today's spacewalk, to install the IROSA mod kit on the 3B mass canister for her and NASA astronaut Anil Menon.
Be adjustable, and I'm putting that over to my mini workstation for some extra maneuverability.
And this view again from the helmet cams, the HECA cams from NASA astronaut Jessica Meir.
Bag transferred to EV1 is next.
No copies. In place. I'm going to refine this bag, I think, a little bit after, come out a little bit more. I like the position I'm in right now to receive the cable bag. Okay. My handle's coming out first. And give me some station coordinate directions to get it to you. Right, stand by, I'm going to get a rep. Stay right there. I'm going to get my red on it. All right, no problem. I can come down a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to try to get a red. I want to get a red on the other side. On the other side, I can help you with that. Hold on. Is that easier? Handle feature with you. Yeah, I've got a ret on it. You can release that ret. Okay. Ret is off, and I'm putting it on the UIA. It is now on the left side of the UIA and out of the way.
We copy the tether config, and that EV1 has the cable bag. EV2 for met rate, we would like you to pause a couple minutes in the airlock before egressing.
Copy, pause. So now, just to plan out this egress, I am immediately on the forward side. I have the strut bag on my left and the cable bag on my right. The cable bag is out of your way, I think, but it's just kind of underneath the hatch. You can see it. I can see it. But if you come out and then go straight aft, we should be in a good position. I'll do that. I think a driver for the net rate might be, I had to really get that net bag from behind the hatch. Copy.
We understand. That's why it's notated as EV3 in the procedures. It's a big bag.
Yeah, and I think on that egress, that was what was preventing me from closing the hatch all the way. I couldn't see above it. Sorry, from opening all the way. Then we got past it.
NASA astronauts Jessica Meir and Anil Menon working through their procedures. As we are now 15 minutes into today's spacewalk, U.S. Spacewalk 96. And there you see Jessica Meir on the outside of the Quest airlock, and her indicators on the cuff of her pants, the red stripes, the cable bag that houses all the cables, tethers, and necessary equipment for today's spacewalk. To her right-hand side, to her left, are key components for today's work. Outside on the 3B mass canister, where her and Anil Menon will install a mod kit to that canister and set up for the future installation of an International Space Station rollout solar array that will provide additional power to support critical space station operations. So Meir currently outside of the airlock, Menon still inside, as they have transferred the appropriate equipment bags and are currently pausing for a moment before Anil Menon will make his way out of the Quest airlock and get those first views of what is now 15 minutes into his very first spacewalk.
EV2, nice work on the pause. We show good met rates continue. You have a go to egress the airlock.
Go to egress.
And with that communication, we are seeing the first movements of Anil Menon out of the Quest airlock, as he will join Jessica Meir. So now both Menon and Meir have exited the Quest airlock. Meir with the red stripes on her cuff of her pants closest to this camera view. Anil Menon just on the other side to her right, as they will continue to maneuver into position. They have already transferred today's equipment and tools necessary, the cable bag and the strut bag, for the installation of the mod kit on the 3B mass canister. And then soon they will step into buddy checks, and that is when they will look over each other's spacesuits and check in on each other, make sure everything is okay before proceeding on with today's spacewalk.
And if you have the handle, Andy. Here we go.
So the official start time of today's spacewalk, 7:33 a.m. Central Time, is when the suits were transitioned over to a battery power, and we are now 19 minutes into U.S. Spacewalk 96.
Once you get a red on it, you can release that. Okay, my red is on it, and it's on my BRT as well. Okay, I can't reach my red enough. You can push it to me, or you can get it off. I think given this position, I'm going to rotate towards you. I see it. Stand by right there. I've got my red off. Thank you for the help.
Copy. Nice work between the two of you on that choreography. Jessica, when you're ready, 10, the hatch thermal cover closed. And you'll turn on your HECA when you have it
open until.
Okay.
You just want it partially closed?
Yes, it's just a partial tending it in the closed direction.
Okay, copy, inward.
And Anil, you can turn on your HECA when you have an opportunity, and after that is buddy checks.
Mills Hecka is on.
Copy. For thermal cover, could you move those tethers a little bit?
Bring them. Go. Here.
The tandem of NASA astronauts Jessica Meir and Anil Menon have now successfully exited the Quest airlock and are closing the thermal hatch cover. Jessica Meir would depart first. Anil Menon would hand her the cable bag and strut bag for today's US EVA and Spacewalk.
Let me move the cable bag out of my way. Ready for buddy check.
Okay, I'm looking at you. I see that your green Hecka light is on. Your lights are not on yet, so you can go ahead and turn those on. I see 1, 2, 3 taps, and I see both of your safer handles are down.
Okay. I'm looking at you. I see 1 green light. I see 2 tabs up. And can you roll to your left? Can you?
Sorry?
Other way. I see 2 handles down.
Okay, and I have a dry half, and I'm going to give a baseline glove check. Gloves look nominal. I have a small black smudge on the middle finger of my left hand. The tip.
I've got dry half and 2 good gloves.
Copy. Good buddy checks, good hap, and good gloves. And for EV1, we copy nominal with the small black smudge on the finger.
Okay, and the thermal cover is not going to stay closed with the tether coming out there. Do you want us to try to get it closed again?
Jessica, we're happy with the config. Yeah, we just wanted it tended closed, but we're happy with the config. We are ready for you to start translation. I have 2 cautions for you both and 1 caution for EV1. Avoid inadvertent contact with deployed test cable, zenith and nadir cedar rails to prevent kinks, folds, or real issues. Avoid contact with radiator and flex hoses. And for EV1, keep translation rates below 0.7 feet per second with the strut bag on your BRT.
EV1 copies.
EV2 copies.
Hey, Neil. You doing?
Great.
All right.
Yeah, I can do all the adaptations while you translate.
Sounds like a plan.
We concur with that plan. Please verify as part of your buddy checks you saw good tools and tethers on both crew.
Confirmed.
The tools and tethers on Anil. And a reminder, we've got our slingshot here, so all those wheels are in the middle. I don't see any twists that we don't need.
Concur. Good tools and tethers.
Hey, copy.
Copy. Good tools and tethers. Jessica, you are en route to the anchor hook locations on S1. For Anil, for translation adaptation, you can attempt a body rotation, pitch yaw roll, various hand grips, stable light fingertip hand between handrail and structure, translation without rotation, and attaching local tether and releasing both hands. We are also about 50 seconds to a handover.
Mail copy all.
Side-by-side views of NASA astronaut Jessica Meir and Anil Menon as they have just recently completed their buddy checks after exiting or egressing the Quest airlock, successfully handling over the tools. Some of the procedures they went through is to make sure their tethers were attached properly, their safers were in a good setup, and also their HAPS, the helmet absorption pad, the safety device developed by NASA to address any possible risks of water inside the helmets. Everything went well. As we now welcome you back inside the International Space Station flight control room, where the teams on the ground continuing to monitor the progress of today's spacewalk, as we are now 26 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting into today's 96th U.S. spacewalk. We're currently switching over communications satellites, and we will bring you back those live views and communications with the NASA astronauts, Ronak Dave and the Momentum flight team overseeing today's spacewalk.
The anchor hook location for EV1's anchor is handrail 3217, the zenith side.
3217.
And for EV2, for your translation adaptation period, we are still seeing MET rates a little bit high, so we'd like you to perform the translation adaptation that you need, but be sure to build in a rest before beginning translation for the procedure.
Copy. Thanks for the feedback. Will do.
As we return to views from the helmet cams of NASA astronauts Jessica Meir and Anil Menon. This is Jessica Meir's camera as she is translating across or moving around the International Space Station in preparation for receiving additional equipment necessary for today's spacewalk to install the 3B mast mod kit on the 3B mast canister. The International Space Station currently in an orbital nighttime, so the cameras aboard the spacesuits are now on as the space station now crossing over the Indian Ocean, about to pass over the west coast of Australia at 266 statute miles above Earth. And that is a view of Anil Menon that is still close to the Quest airlock, continuing his translation adaptation as necessary. As for Jessica Meir continuing to make her way across the space station in preparation for today's install. And side-by-side views, there you see Anil Menon and his helmet cam looking back into the International Space Station in the Quest airlock on the right-hand side. As for Jessica Meir on the left, continuing her movements across the space station. As the two will be working in tandem today to install that 3B mast, or the mod kit to the 3B mast canister.
All right, I am at the starboard seat of cart, going very slowly with the strap bag, and I'm going to come find our handrail.
Copy, EV1.
And again, side by side.
17, I'm going to put my anchor on 3217.
Houston concurs.
My anchor hook is on 3217, gate closed, slider left.
We copy, Jessica. Good load path for EV1.
"31 minutes into today's U.S. Spacewalk 96 as Anil Menon, still in his translation adaptation near the Quest airlock, and you're hearing communications between Jessica Meir and the teams on the ground as Jessica has arrived to a crew equipment translation aid card, a CETA card. And those carts that Jessica has arrived at is offering a method to help translate or help move large pieces of equipment. And for Jessica Meir today in her spacewalk, currently tethered to her space foot is an 8-foot strut bag with a mass of 300 pounds, over 300 pounds.
Two's anchor hook is on 3215, gate closed, slider locked.
Copy all, Jessica. Good load path for EV2. You can give EV2 a go to release the waist tether.
All right, EV2, I see a good load path here. Have a go to release.
Copy, go.
Stephanie, do I have a go to continue my translation starboard?
Yes, and while you're translating, I have 2 cautions and a warning to read. Do not translate on Sarge DLA. Do not load DLA cable under MLI. Avoid contact with ECU and SSU on unlatched BGA mass canisters. The one warning, avoid inadvertent contact with grapple fixture targets and target pins to prevent suit damage.
One copies.
"33.5 minutes into today's spacewalk as we get side-by-side views of the helmet cams of Jessica Meir and Anil Menon.
Closing the thermal cover. Thank you.
The cover is closed.
Copy, closed.